The grand hall of the Galactic Council Station gleamed with lights from 1,000 worlds. Marcus Chun stood near a viewing window, watching ships arrive and depart like fireflies in the darkness. He tugged at his formal jacket, still not used to representing all of humanity at events like this. "You look nervous," said Ambassador Trell, a blue-skinned Andorian who had been kind to Marcus since Earth joined the Council 3 months ago. Marcus smiled. "Is it that obvious?" "Only to those who know what to look for," Trell replied, his translator device making his words sound smooth and warm. "You are doing well, Marcus. Better than many species do in their first year." Marcus appreciated the encouragement. Humans were the newest members of the Galactic Council, barely 50 years into faster-than-light travel. Most of the other species have been exploring space for thousands of years. Some looked at humans like interesting children. Others barely looked at them at all. The reception hall filled with delegates from across the galaxy. There were the tall, plant-like verdants who smelled of flowers, the crystalline shards who sang instead of spoke, the massive ergoth who had to use specially reinforced chairs. Marcus had spent weeks learning their customs, trying not to offend anyone accidentally. A sudden silence fell over the room. Marcus turned to see what caused it. The crowd parted like water, and through the gap came a figure that made even the proudest ambassadors bow their heads. Queen Zirithi of the Vulcar Empire entered the hall. Marcus had seen pictures, but they did not prepare him for the reality. She stood nearly 8 feet tall, her body covered in a deep purple carapace that gleamed like polished metal. 6 legs carried her with impossible grace. Her arms ended in delicate claws that could probably tear through steel. But what struck Marcus most were her eyes. Dozens of faceted eyes that caught the light like jewels, and they were dim. The patterns of light that normally danced across a Vulcar's shell, showing their emotions, flickered weakly. The queen looked tired, sad. "That is unusual," Trell whispered. "The Vulcar queen almost never attends these functions. She sends representatives." Marcus watched as Queen Zirithi moved through the room. Other ambassadors tried to approach her, but she ignored them all. Her guards, smaller Vulcar warriors with gleaming armor, kept pace beside her. Then the queen's path changed. She turned, and Marcus realized with shock that she was walking directly toward him. "Ambassador Trell," Marcus whispered urgently, "what do I do?" But Trell had already stepped back, his eyes wide. Everyone had stepped back. The entire room watched as the queen of the most powerful military empire in the galaxy approached the human. Ambassador Queen Zirithi stopped in front of Marcus. Up close, he could see the tiny cracks in her carapace, signs of age and stress. Her bioluminescent patterns pulsed slowly, almost like a heartbeat. "Ambassador Marcus Chun of Earth," she said. Her voice came from a translator, but it carried weight and authority that needed no technology. Marcus bowed, the way he had been taught. "Your Majesty." "I am honored." "Walk with me," she said. It was not a request. Marcus followed the queen to a private balcony overlooking the stars. Her guards remained inside, giving them space. For a long moment, they stood in silence. "Do you have children, Ambassador Chun?" the queen asked. "No, Your Majesty." "Not yet, but you understand the concept of family? Of love for offspring?" "Yes," Marcus said carefully. "Humans value family greatly." The queen's lights flickered brighter for just a moment. "Then you will understand my grief." She told him the story. 6 cycles ago, about 8 months in Earth time, her 3 daughters had traveled to the border territories on a diplomatic mission. They were young but capable, accompanied by skilled guards and flying in a well-armed ship. They never returned. Search parties found the ship, empty and damaged, floating near the shattered reaches. The guards were dead. The princesses were gone. Every attempt to track them had failed. The Velkar military, feared across the galaxy, could not find them. "We have evidence," the Queen continued, her voice tight with controlled emotion, "that they were taken by the Kresh Syndicate. Slavers and criminals who hide in the reaches. But that region is filled with old weapons, automated defenses from ancient wars. These systems target Velkar biological signatures specifically. Our people cannot enter without triggering them. Every rescue attempt has ended in death." Marcus listened, his mind racing. "Why are you telling me this, Your Majesty?" The Queen turned to face him fully. All her eyes focused on him, and Marcus felt the weight of her gaze. "Because humans are new to the galaxy," she said. "Your biological signatures are not in any database. Those ancient weapons do not know you exist. You could go where my people cannot. You could search where we cannot search." Marcus felt his mouth go dry. "You want me to rescue your daughters?" "I am asking," the Queen said, and her voice broke slightly. "I am a mother before I am a queen, Ambassador Chun. I have offered wealth and technology to mercenaries, but they want payment first and promises I cannot guarantee. I have begged the Council for aid, but they say it is too dangerous, too likely to start a war with the Kresh." She paused, and her lights dimmed further. "But I have watched your species these past months. I have seen how you treat each other, how you speak of your families, how you mourn your dead. Humans understand something that many older species have forgotten. You still believe in helping others, even when it costs you." Marcus thought of his own mother back on Earth. He thought of what she would do if he were missing, how far she would go to find him. "I cannot order you," the Queen said. "I can only ask. I offer you anything in my power, technology, land, wealth, beyond measure. But I suspect that is not why you would say yes, if you say yes at all." Marcus looked out at the stars. The shattered reaches was supposed to be a death trap. He was a diplomat, not a soldier. He had been a rescue pilot in the asteroid fields around Mars, but that was years ago. But he saw something in the Queen's eyes that transcended species and culture. He saw a mother who had lost her children. "I'll need a ship," Marcus said quietly, "and someone who knows the region, and all the intelligence you have on the Kresh." The Queen's bioluminescence exploded in patterns of hope and gratitude so bright that people inside the hall turned to look. "You have it all," she said. "You have everything I can give." "I can't promise I'll succeed," Marcus warned. "You are trying," the Queen said. "That is more than anyone else has offered." As they walked back inside, Marcus heard the whispers. Other ambassadors stared at him like he had lost his mind. Maybe he had. But when he looked back at Queen Xerathi, he saw Mother's hope returning. Sometimes, Marcus thought, being human meant doing the impossible just because it was right. The ship the Velkar gave Marcus was unlike anything humans had built. It was small and fast, shaped like a teardrop made of black metal that seemed to drink in light. The cockpit was designed for Velkar physiology, so Marcus spent 2 days with technicians modifying it for human use. "This control adjusts the gravity field," said Shlara, the Velkar intelligence officer who would accompany him. She pointed to a panel covered in glowing symbols. "And this one manages the stealth systems." Marcus studied the controls, trying to memorize everything. Shlara had volunteered for this mission against direct orders from her superiors. She was risking her career, maybe her life. "Why did you volunteer?" Marcus asked as they worked out. Shlara's carapace flickered with colors Marcus was learning to read. Purple meant thoughtfulness. "The princesses are of the blood royal," she said. "But more than that, Valesh the youngest, she is my sister daughter. My sister's child. I held her when she hatched." "I'm sorry," Marcus said. "We'll find them." "You speak with certainty," Shlara observed. "Do all humans think this way? So confident?" "Not confident," Marcus corrected. Hopeful. There's a difference. They launched 3 days after the Queen's request. Marcus had spent those days studying everything the Velkar intelligence services had on the Kresh Syndicate and the Shattered Reaches. The news was not encouraging. The Shattered Reaches was a region of space filled with debris from ancient wars. Rogue asteroids drifted through gravitational anomalies. Radiation from dying stars made sensors unreliable. And everywhere, hidden in the chaos, were automated weapons left over from conflicts thousands of years old. The Velkar fought a war here once, Shlara explained as they flew, against the Drath Collective. Both sides left defensive systems that still function. They target Velkar biosigns automatically. But they don't know what a human is, Marcus said. Correct. You are too new. But that does not make you safe. The Reaches are dangerous for many other reasons. The ship's AI, which Marcus had nicknamed Archie, beeped a warning. Entering the outer boundary of the Shattered Reaches. Recommend raising shields. The view screen showed space changing ahead of them. The normal darkness of space gave way to a purple-red nebula that swirled like a living thing. Chunks of metal and rock floated past, some as small as cars, others as large as cities. Beginning passive scans, Archie announced. Multiple gravitational anomalies detected. Adjusting course. Marcus gripped the controls as the ship weaved between debris. His experience piloting in the asteroid fields of Mars helped, but this was different. The asteroids here moved in unpredictable patterns, pulled by invisible forces. The trail begins at the Whisper Market, Shara said, bringing up a holographic map. A trading post where criminals buy and sell information. The Kresh are known to operate there. Will they talk to us? Marcus asked. They will talk to you, Shlara said. I must remain hidden. If they see a Velkar, they will know the Queen still searches. They will hide deeper. The Whisper Market was a collection of ships and habitats connected by docking tubes. It looked chaotic and dangerous. Marcus landed the ship at an outer dock, far from prying eyes. I have prepared currency, Shlara said, handing Marcus a device. Universal credits. Do not be generous. These people respect only strength and profit. Marcus put on a simple jacket that hid his diplomatic status. He wanted to look like a trader or smuggler, not an ambassador. He walked through the docking tube and entered the market. The smell hit him first, a mixture of exotic foods, industrial chemicals, and unwashed bodies from a dozen species. The market was a maze of stalls and shops, lit by flickering lights. Vendors called out in multiple languages, selling everything from weapons to living creatures. Marcus approached a stall run by a creature that looked like a pile of tentacles wearing a vest. Information, Marcus said, keeping his voice low. The vendor's eyes, he had 7 of them, focused on Marcus. Human, rare sight here. What information? Kresh Syndicate. Recent acquisitions. High value. The vendor's tentacles quivered. Dangerous question. Why should I answer? Marcus placed a credit chip on the counter. Not too much. Not too little. The vendor took it, scanned it, and made a sound that might have been laughter. Kresh took something valuable 8 of your months ago. 3 someones. Living cargo. Still holding them. Where? Marcus asked. That costs more. Marcus placed another chip down. The vendor hesitated, then leaned closer. Nebula 7. Deep in the radiation zone. Fortress station. Automated defenses. Very protected. The vendor paused. Also, I hear they plan an auction. 3 days from now. Buyers from across the galaxy. Marcus felt cold. 3 days. Not much time. How do I get there? You don't, the vendor said flatly. Radiation will kill most species in hours. Nebula scrambles sensors. Fortress has weapons that destroy anything that approaches. Even if you survive all that, the crash themselves are killers. You go there, you die there. Marcus bought more information: approach factors, radiation levels, fortress layout based on rumors and old scans. It cost him most of the credits Shlara had given him. Back on the ship, he shared everything with Shlara. "Nebula 7, she said, her colors shifting to dark blue. "Fear. That is one of the worst regions. The radiation alone. Can humans survive it?" Marcus asked. Shlara worked a console, running calculations. "Possibly. For a limited time. Human cellular structure is more resistant to certain radiation types than most species. With medical treatments, you might have 6 to 8 hours before permanent damage. Then we go," Marcus said. "Marcus." Shlara turned to face him. "This is not your species. Not your family. Why do you risk yourself?" Marcus thought about how to explain. "On Earth, we have a saying. All children are our children. It means that we're responsible for protecting kids, even ones we don't know. Even ones that aren't human." "I do not understand," Shlara admitted. "You don't have to," Marcus said gently. "You just have to trust me." They spent the next day traveling toward Nebula 7. Archie plotted a course through the safest routes. Though safe was relative in the Reach's dot as they approached the nebula, the ship's sensors began to malfunction. The swirling clouds of radiation interfered with everything. "I am scared," Shlara said suddenly. It was the first time she had admitted it. "Me too," Marcus replied. "But you still go forward." "Being brave doesn't mean not being scared," Marcus said. "It means being scared and doing it anyway." Shlara's colors shifted to something Marcus hadn't seen before. Warm orange with gold highlights. "What does that mean?" he asked. "Respect," she said quietly. "And friendship. You have earned both." The nebula loomed ahead, purple and red clouds hiding whatever lay within. Marcus ran through the radiation treatment. Shlara had prepared injections that would protect his cells temporarily. "I will monitor you from here," Shlara said. "I will guide you through the fortress systems remotely. But you will be alone in there." "Not alone," Marcus said, checking his equipment. "You'll be with me, just at a distance." As they entered the nebula, the ship shook from the radiation. Marcus could see the Kresh fortress ahead, a dark shape in the swirling clouds. It bristled with weapons and sensors. "Beginning approach," Marcus said. "Let's bring those princesses home." The radiation inside Nebula 7 felt like heat against Marcus's skin, even through the ship's shields. His medical scanner beeped steadily, monitoring the damage his body was absorbing. The clock had started. 6 to 8 hours before the radiation killed him. "I am reading the fortress structure," Shlara said through his earpiece. 3 levels. The holding cells are on the lowest level. Maximum security. Marcus guided the ship closer, using the nebula's interference as cover. The Kresh fortress grew larger in his view screen, a massive structure of dark metal covered in weapon ports and sensor arrays. "Their sensors cannot detect you well through the radiation," Shlara said. "But when you dock, they will know. You will have minutes before they respond." "They'll have to move fast," Marcus said. He brought the ship to an old maintenance port on the fortress's lower section. It looked abandoned, which was perfect. The docking clamps engaged with a clang that echoed through the hull. "Medical check," Shlara ordered. Marcus looked at his scanner. "Radiation exposure at 12%. I'm good." "Be careful," Shlara said, and Marcus heard real worry in her voice. "Always am," he lied. The airlock opened into a dark corridor. Emergency lights provided just enough illumination to see. Marcus pulled out a compact pistol, human-made, reliable technology that wouldn't fail in the radiation. He also carried a pack full of tools and equipment. "Moving forward," Marcus whispered. "Left corridor," Schlara guided. Follow it 30 meters, then take the stairs down. Marcus moved quietly, using skills from his old rescue training. The fortress was oddly quiet. He saw no guards in this section. Most of the creche will be on the upper levels, Schlara explained, as if reading his thoughts. This is old infrastructure. They use the lower levels only for storage and high-security prisoners. Marcus descended the stairs carefully. At the bottom, he found a checkpointed door with a security panel. This would be his first real test. I am accessing their system now, Schlara said. Marcus heard clicking sounds through the earpiece. Their security is strong, but they use old draft protocols. I know these systems. Give me 1 minute. Marcus waited, pressed against the wall, listening for approaching footsteps. 60 seconds felt like 60 minutes. Done, Schlara said triumphantly. Door opening now. The door slid open with a hiss. Marcus moved through quickly, and it closed behind him. The corridor beyond was different. Cleaner, better lit, and definitely more dangerous. Guards ahead, Schlara warned. 2 of them, creche warriors. Marcus saw them at the far end of the corridor lodge. Reptilian creatures with scales like armor and weapons strapped to their bodies. They stood in front of another door. He couldn't fight them both. Not directly. Creche were known as fierce fighters. Schlara, can you create a distraction? What kind? Anything. Make them think there's a problem somewhere else. Marcus heard Schlara working. Then, alarms started blaring from a different section of the fortress. The guards' heads snapped toward the sound. They talked quickly in their own language, then both ran off toward the alarms. Nice work, Marcus said, rushing to the door they had been guarding. I triggered a fire suppression system in the kitchen area, Schlara said. They will discover it is false quickly. You have perhaps 5 minutes. The door required a genetic scan creche, DNA. Marcus pulled out a small medical kit he had prepared. Inside was a sample of creche tissue he had purchased at the Whisper Market. Expensive, but necessary. He placed the tissue on the scanner. It beeped, checked, and the door opened. Beyond was a vault room. And in the center, behind layers of energy barriers and security systems, were 3 stasis pods. Marcus's heart raced. I found them. The princesses? Schlara's voice shook. 3 pods. Has to be them. Marcus, wait. There will be additional security. Let me scan. But Marcus was already examining the pods. Through the transparent covers, he could see 3 Velkar, smaller and younger than Schlara or the Queen. They floated in some kind of suspended state, eyes closed. They're alive, Marcus said. They look okay. You must release them from stasis carefully, Schlara said. There is a sequence. If you do it wrong, it could hurt them. Marcus found the control panel. It was covered in symbols he didn't recognize. Describe what you see, Schlara instructed. Marcus described the symbols, and Schlara guided him through the sequence. Press this button, wait for the light, press that one, wait again. But as he worked, he noticed something else. Another panel, separate from the stasis controls. It had a strange lock mechanism, 3-dimensional, made of moving parts that shifted and rotated. What is this? Marcus asked. Schlara was quiet for a moment. A puzzle lock. The creche used them as backup security. You must solve it to fully release the pods. Otherwise, they remain trapped. How do I solve it? I do not know. Each puzzle is unique. It adapts to whoever tries it. Marcus touched the puzzle, and it came to life. Shapes rotated, colors changed, patterns formed and dissolved. It was testing him, learning how he thought. He studied it carefully. This was different from any lock he had seen. It wasn't about keys or codes. It was about understanding the logic, the pattern. Marcus thought back to his childhood on Earth. He had loved puzzles, games, anything that challenged his mind. His mother used to say he could see patterns where others saw chaos. He began to manipulate the puzzle. Move this piece. Watch how the others respond. Shift that section. See how the colors change. It was like a three-dimensional chess game where the rules kept evolving. Minutes passed. Sweat dripped down Marcus's face. The radiation was building in his body. His scanner showed 28% exposure. Alarms, Schlara warned. The Kresh have discovered the fire was false. They are searching the fortress. You must hurry. Working on it, Marcus muttered, his eyes fixed on the puzzle. He tried different approaches. Linear thinking didn't work. The puzzle countered every predictable move. So Marcus stopped trying to be logical. He started thinking laterally, making moves that seemed random but followed a deeper pattern. He felt rather than understood. The puzzle responded differently. The colors shifted to something new. That's it, Marcus whispered. He was getting somewhere. He continued, following his instincts, trusting the pattern recognition that made humans such good problem solvers. Humans had evolved to see patterns in nature, to find water in deserts, to track animals through forests. That ancient skill was helping him now. With a final twist, the puzzle chimed. The three-dimensional shape collapsed into a single point of light, then disappeared. Done, Marcus said. The energy barriers around the stasis pods dropped. The pods began their release sequence. Lights flashed, liquids drained, and the transparent covers opened. The three princesses lay still for a moment. Then the largest one, Kyrtha, Marcus guessed, opened her eyes. All dozen of them. She looked at Marcus with confusion. Then, alarm. Peace, Marcus said quickly. I'm here to rescue you. Your mother sent me. Kyrtha tried to speak but couldn't. The drugs were still in her system. Her sisters were stirring too, but barely conscious. Schlara, they're awake but weak, Marcus reported. Get them out. Now, I detect multiple Kresh approaching your position. Marcus heard heavy footsteps in the corridor outside. He looked at the three princesses. Kyrtha was trying to stand but stumbling. Mixina was sitting up but looked confused. Valesh, the youngest, couldn't even open her eyes. He made a decision. Marcus picked up Valesh, cradling her carefully. She was lighter than he expected, but still heavy, maybe 80 pounds. Her carapace was soft, still developing. Can you walk? He asked Kyrtha and Mixina. Kyrtha nodded weakly. She helped her sister stand. The door burst open. Three Kresh warriors rushed in, weapons raised. Marcus drew his pistol with his free hand and fired. The first warrior went down. The second took cover. The third charged. No! Marcus shouted to the princesses, pushing them toward a side exit Schlara had marked on his display. He fought while retreating, protecting the weak princesses. One hand held Valesh against his chest. The other fired his weapon. It was chaos and desperation. Left turn ahead, Schlara guided. Then straight to the emergency docking port. Marcus ran, the princesses stumbling behind him. More alarms blared. The entire fortress was waking up. This was going to be close. Marcus ran through the fortress corridors, with Valesh held against his chest. Behind him, Kyrtha and Mixina stumbled along, still weak from the drugs. The alarms were deafening. Red lights flashed everywhere. 20 meters to the docking port, Schlara said in his ear. But, Marcus, I am detecting a problem. They have activated the fortress lockdown. All doors are sealing. Marcus saw it happening ahead. Heavy blast doors were starting to close, cutting off their escape route. Can you stop them? Marcus asked, breathing hard. I am trying. Their system is fighting me. Marcus looked at the closing doors. They were massive, designed to stop armed assault teams. Once sealed, nothing would open them except a complete system reset. Kyrtha, Marcus called. Can you run? The eldest princess nodded. though she swayed on her legs. Then run. Now. They sprinted. Marcus's muscles burned. Valish wasn't heavy, but carrying her while running in full gravity was taking its toll. His medical scanner screamed warnings. Radiation exposure at 42%. His body was breaking down at the cellular level. The doors were closing faster. The gap was shrinking. "You won't make it," Slora said, panic in her voice. "Watch me," Marcus growled. He ran harder, pushing his body beyond what should be possible. Human endurance, human stubbornness, human refusal to give up dot behind him. Crash warriors poured into the corridor, firing weapons. Energy blasts hit the walls around Marcus, melting metal. 15 meters, Slora counted. 10. The door. Marcus dove. He hit the floor sliding, the lash protected in his arms. He slid under the closing door, just as it clanged shut behind him. Metal scraped against his back, tearing his jacket. Kurtha and Mixina had made it through just before him, collapsing on the other side. "Everyone okay?" Marcus asked, struggling to his feet. Kyrtha made a clicking sound that might have been agreement. Mixina just lay on the floor, breathing hard. "The docking port is just ahead," Slora said. "But Marcus, you are badly exposed to radiation. You must leave now." Marcus checked his scanner. 51%. He was well past the safe limit. He could feel it now, a deep tiredness in his bones, a wrongness in his body. "Almost there," he said. He helped Kyrtha get Mixina standing. Together, they moved to the docking port. But when they arrived, Marcus's heart sank. Their ship wasn't there. "Slora, where's the ship?" "The fortress defenses detected it," Slora said. "I had to move or be destroyed. I am circling at a distance, but I cannot dock. The automated weapons will shoot me down." Marcus looked around desperately. They were trapped. Behind them, he could hear the crash cutting through the blast door with plasma torches. Then he saw it. A Kresh fighter ship in the docking bay. Small, fast, probably a scout vessel. "Can you fly one of those?" Marcus asked Kyrtha. The princess looked at the ship. She clicked something, and Marcus's translator interpreted it. Different controls. But yes, maybe. "Good enough," Marcus said. They hurried to the ship. Marcus shot the lock, and they climbed inside. The interior was designed for Kresh physiology, everything too large, the seats wrong. Kyrtha took the pilot position. Her claws moved over controls that looked nothing like Volcar technology. She was guessing, using instinct and intelligence. The ship's engines roared to life. "Slora, we're coming out in a Kresh fighter," Marcus said. "Don't shoot us." "Understood." "But Marcus, the fortress is powering weapons. They will fire on you." "Let them try," Marcus said. KY Ratha launched the ship. They shot out of the docking bay into the purple-red nebula. Immediately, energy weapons from the fortress opened fire. Explosions blossomed around them. Kurtha flew like she was born to it, dodging and weaving through the fire. Even weak and drugged, she had skills that amazed Marcus. "Where did you learn to fly like this?" he asked. "All royals train." She clicked back. "Warriors first. Diplomats second." An explosion rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed on the console. "Shield failing," Mixina said weakly from the back. She had found a weapons station and was trying to help. Marcus looked out the view screen and saw Shalara's ship approaching. But behind it, the fortress was launching more fighters. Kresh warriors who would chase them until they died. "Shalara, we need a way out," Marcus said. "I am calculating. The nebula's radiation makes navigation difficult, but I can plot a course. Follow my lead." Shalara's ship took the lead, and Kairetha followed. Behind them, 6 Kresh fighters gave chase, firing continuously. Then Marcus noticed something on the stolen ship's console. A warning light was flashing. "What's that?" he asked Kyrtha. She looked and her colors went dark. "Self-destruct." They activated it remotely. "We have 2 minutes." Of course. The crash wouldn't let their own ship escape with prisoners. "Shlara, the ship's going to explode in 2 minutes," Marcus reported. "Can you transfer to my ship?" "Not in the middle of this fight. Not with the princesses in this condition." Shlara was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I have an idea." "It is dangerous. Everything today is dangerous," Marcus said. "The nebula has gravitational anomalies. Strong ones. If we can lure the crash fighters into one, they will be trapped. But we must get very close. And timing must be perfect." "Do it," Marcus said. Shlara's ship suddenly changed course, diving deeper into the nebula. Kyrtha followed without hesitation. The crash fighters came after them, firing constantly. The radiation levels increased. Marcus's scanner went past 60%. He could feel his body failing. His vision blurred at the edges. "Anomaly ahead," Shlara warned. "Get ready." Marcus saw it on the sensors, a massive gravitational distortion, invisible to the eye but deadly to anything that got too close. Shlara flew directly toward it. The crash fighters followed, eager to catch their prey. "Now!" Shlara shouted. Both ships turned hard, their engines screaming. The crash fighters tried to follow, but they were too close to the anomaly. The gravitational forces grabbed them, pulled them in. Marcus watched as 6 fighters were crushed like paper, compressed into nothing. "Clear path to exit," Shlara said. "But your ship, 90 seconds, Kyrtha announced calmly. "Head to these coordinates," Shlara transmitted. "I will match your speed. We will do a mid-flight transfer." "Is that possible?" Marcus asked. "We will find out." The 2 ships flew side by side through the nebula. Shlara opened her docking port. Kyrtha tried to align their stolen fighter. 60 seconds, Mixna said. The ships were close, almost touching. But the turbulence in the nebula made it hard to keep steady. "I cannot hold it," Kyrtha said, her strength finally failing. Marcus took the controls. His vision was fading, his hands shaking from radiation sickness. But he had flown through asteroid fields in worse conditions. He focused everything he had on keeping the ships aligned. 30 seconds. The ships connected. Docking clamps engaged. "Go!" Marcus shouted. He grabbed Valash again. Kyrtha and Mixna stumbled through the airlock. Marcus followed. Just as Kyrtha activated the emergency release, the ships separated. Marcus fell through into Shlara's ship, landing hard. Behind him, the airlock sealed through the view screen. They watched the crash fighter explode, a brief fireball in the purple clouds. "Everyone accounted for?" Shlara asked. Marcus did a quick count. 3 princesses, all alive. "We're good. Then we are leaving this cursed place." Shlara's ship accelerated, leaving Nebula 7 behind. The fortress tried to give chase, but they were too slow. Too late. As they broke free of the nebula, Marcus collapsed into a seat. His scanner showed 73% radiation exposure. Critical levels. He needed medical treatment immediately. Valash, now a little more awake, looked at him with all her faceted eyes. She reached out one delicate claw and touched his hand. "Thank you," she whispered in broken common speech. Marcus smiled, though it hurt to do so. "You're welcome." Then everything went dark. Marcus woke up to the sound of beeping machines. His whole body ached, like he'd been hit by a truck. When he opened his eyes, he saw white walls and medical equipment he didn't recognize. "He wakes," said a voice. Marcus turned his head carefully. Shlara stood beside his bed, her colors showing relief. Behind her were the 3 princesses, looking much healthier than the last time he had seen them. "Where am I?" Marcus asked, his throat dry. Medical bay on the royal ship, Shlara explained. We are 2 days from the Galactic Council station. You have been unconscious for 4 days. 4 days? Marcus tried to sit up, but his body protested. The radiation was very serious, said Kaertha, stepping forward. You absorbed enough to kill most species, but human cellular regeneration is remarkable. With our medical technology and your body's natural healing, you will recover fully. Though it will take time, added Mixna. You must rest. Marcus looked at the 3 princesses. They stood tall and healthy, their carapaces gleaming, their bioluminescent patterns bright and cheerful. It was hard to believe these were the same weak, drugged individuals he had carried out of the Kresh fortress. You're all okay? He asked. Thanks to you, Valesh said. She moved closer to his bed. You carried me, protected me. I remember. I remember too, said Kaertha. You fought for us like we were your own blood. No Velkar warrior could have done better. Marcus felt embarrassed by the praise. I just did what anyone would do. No, Shlara said firmly. Not anyone. Most species would not risk themselves for aliens they had never met. This is something special about humans. Something we did not understand before. The door to the medical bay opened, and Marcus's heart nearly stopped. Queen Zirathi entered, her presence filling the room. Behind her came several Velkar officials and guards. Marcus tried to get up, to show proper respect, but the queen gestured for him to remain in bed. Peace, Ambassador Chun, she said. Her voice was different from when he had first met her. The sadness was gone, replaced by something warm and strong. You have earned a right to rest. She moved to his bedside, and Marcus saw that her bioluminescent patterns were brilliant, showing colors he had never seen on a Velkar before. Joy, gratitude, love. You brought my daughters home, the queen said simply. There are no words in any language that can express what that means to me. I'm just glad they're safe. Your Majesty, Marcus said. The queen looked at her 3 daughters, and something passed between them, a moment of pure familial connection that transcended words. When you agreed to help me, the queen continued, I offered you wealth and technology. I said you could have anything in my power to give. Do you remember? Yes, Your Majesty. I also said that I suspected you would not do this for payment. I was correct, was I not? Marcus nodded. I did it because it was right. Because you were a mother who needed help finding her children. The queen's patterns flared even brighter. This is what I hoped you would say. Because now I can offer you something far more valuable than technology or wealth. She turned to face him fully, and all her officials stood straighter. The Velkar Empire formally recognizes humanity as a species of honor and courage. We declare an alliance between our peoples, binding for as long as the stars burn. We will share our knowledge, our trade routes, and our friendship. Marcus heard gasps from the other Velkar in the room. This was apparently a huge deal. More than this, the queen continued, I name you Marcus Chun. As friend of the Hive, this title has never been given to an outsider in all our history. You are now family to the Velkar Empire. My home is your home. My people are your people. She reached out and touched her claw to her thorax, then to Marcus's chest, the Velkar gesture of deepest respect and love. Marcus felt tears in his eyes. He wasn't ashamed of them. I don't know what to say, he admitted. Say you will continue to be who you are, the queen replied. A person who sees beyond species and cultures to the hearts of others. The galaxy needs more souls like yours. Over the next few days, as they traveled back to the Galactic Council, Marcus spent time with the princesses. They were fascinated by him and wanted to understand humans better. Kaertha challenged him to strategy games, which they played on a holographic board. She won most of the time, but Marcus held his own. You think differently, she observed after one match. Not better or worse. Just different. You see solutions I would never consider. Mixina interviewed him endlessly about human culture, psychology, and history. She was writing a paper on cross-species empathy and wanted Marcus's perspective. On my world, we have a concept called Ubuntu, Marcus explained. It means I am because we are. The idea that we're all connected, that one person's humanity is bound up with everyone else's. Even across species? Mixina asked, why not? If we can feel compassion for each other, if we can recognize each other's pain and joy, then we're connected in the ways that matter. But it was Valesh who spent the most time with Marcus. She would sit beside his bed while he recovered, sometimes talking, sometimes just being present. She held his hand often, which Shlara explained was remarkable. Velkar rarely made physical contact except in combat or during mating. Why did you carry me? Valesh asked one day. You could have moved faster without me. Marcus thought about how to answer. When I was young, I had a little sister. She got sick once, very sick. I stayed by her bed for days, taking care of her. I remember thinking that I would do anything to make her better. When I saw you in that pod, so small and vulnerable, I thought of her. I thought of how scared she must have been. And I knew I had to protect you. Is your sister well now? Valesh asked. Marcus smiled. She's great. She's a doctor on Mars, helps people every day. Then she learned from your example, Valesh said. You showed her what it means to care. When they finally arrived at the Galactic Council Station, news of the rescue had already spread. The docking bay was crowded with delegates, journalists, and curious onlookers from 100 species. As Marcus walked off the ship still, weak but able to move with the 3 princesses and Queen Zarethi beside him, the crowd erupted in cheers. Not just from humans or Velkar, but from species Marcus had never even met. Ambassador Trell pushed through the crowd and hugged Marcus, which was very un-Andorian behavior. You crazy human, Trell said, laughing and crying at the same time. You did it. Everyone said it was impossible, but you did it. The formal ceremony took place in the Grand Council chamber. Representatives from every member species attended. Marcus stood before them all, still in his medical recovery suit, looking more like a patient than a hero. The Queen gave a speech that would be remembered for generations. She spoke of courage and compassion, of bridges between species, and of the special quality that humans brought to the galactic community. We are an old galaxy, she said. Ancient species with ancient ways. We have forgotten some things that matter. Humans remember them. They remember that every life has value, that every child deserves protection, that being strong means being kind. She turned to Marcus. You went into death itself to bring my daughters home. You asked for nothing. You expected nothing. You did it because your heart told you it was right. This is the gift humanity brings to the stars, a reminder of what we should all aspire to be. The council erupted in approval. Species that had barely acknowledged Earth's existence now stood to applaud. Later, at a private reception, Marcus found a quiet corner with Shlara. How do you feel? She asked. Overwhelmed, Marcus admitted. I'm just one person. I'm not special. You are wrong, Shlara said. You are very special. But also, you are not alone. Every human I have met since this began has shown similar qualities. This is what makes your species remarkable. Not technology or strength, but this capacity for empathy across all boundaries. We have our problems too, Marcus said. We're not perfect. No species is perfect, Shlara replied. But you try. You care. That is enough. The 3 princesses found Marcus before the evening ended. They had a gift, a small crystal pendant that glowed with soft light. This is a memory stone, Kyrtha explained. It contains recordings of our rescue. So you will always remember. And so will we, Mixna added. Val single quotes, Ash hugged Marcus, wrapping her arms and several legs around him in a way that would have seemed strange weeks ago, but now felt natural. You are my brother now, she said. In my heart, always. Marcus hugged her back. And you're my sister? All of you are family. As the celebration continued around them, Marcus looked out at the gathered species, the diversity of the galaxy, all in one place. He thought about how he had come here months ago, unsure if humans belonged among the stars. Now he knew they did. Not because they were the strongest or the smartest or the most advanced, but because they understood something fundamental, that in the end, what mattered most was caring for each other. All of us, across every divide. Hey, Marcus, Balash said. We are planning to visit Earth. We want to see where you come from, to meet your family, to understand humans better. Marcus smiled. My mom is going to love you. She always wanted more kids. The princess's bioluminescent patterns flashed with humor and warmth. Outside the station, the stars shone eternal. And among them, one young species had found its place, not through conquest or dominance, but through the oldest and most powerful force in the universe,